The subject of today's video is the polished stone technique made with the Springtime Foils Designer Series paper, which is a special paper through Celebration, which ends very soon, in the next few days. The items I'm working on today were inspired by my 15-year anniversary celebration Rewind Redo project, which I posted earlier in March. And I did that on just plain old glossy cardstock, but the Springtime Foils paper is really very close to glossy cardstock, but it has these embossed images on it, as you can see. I'm going to be doing the polished stone technique on all four of these patterns using 3 different colors of ink. I'll be using the Emerald Envy, Berry Burst, and Island Indigo inks, and each of these is going to turn out completely unique, as you'll see. And to start off doing the technique, I'm going to use cotton balls, roll them in my hand to just get the fiber sort of contained, and I'm going to put rubbing alcohol onto each cotton ball. This is isopropyl alcohol 91%. So I'm going to put alcohol on and then 3 little droplets from my re-inker bottle onto each cotton ball. And again, I'm using 3 different colors. So I'll also be using some Wink of Stella on this project, which is a little bit of a different twist from the original polished stone technique. On original polished stone, I always used gold or silver ink in the same way, putting it on a cotton ball with alcohol. That's not a current item in the current Stampin' Up! Catalog, so I thought Wink of Stella might be a fun alternative. So now you see me here starting the process of doing the polished stones. So I've started with the Berry Burst, just putting spots of it all over, and coming in now with the Island Indigo. And on this particular one, I only used those 2 colors, but I went in and sort of continued to dab and mix the colors so that you end up with not just the pink and the blue, but you get some purple elements in there as well. So moving on to the next one now, and on this one I've started with the Emerald Envy, and I'm now coming in with the Island Indigo, also just sort of putting dots everywhere. And if you're looking at this up close, you'll see the alcohol sort of makes the ink sort of spread and move and mix, which is really a cool element of doing this and seeing it, for real. So now let's see, that I just came in with the Berry Burst. So I've got all 3 colors on there, and you can see that you're seeing some purples in there, and I added a little bit of some ink droplets to the Island Indigo cotton ball just to get some darker, richer blue in there. So now I'm moving on to my leaves, and on this one I am only going to use the Emerald Envy and Island Indigo, just staying with those blues and greens. That was what I was inspired to do, of course with leaves and sort of sky in mind. So what will happen with your cotton balls is the colors will mix. So I used my blue cotton ball on one of the other pieces that had the pink on it, and since I didn't want any pink on this version, I started with a fresh cotton ball with fresh alcohol and fresh ink droplets. And I just added some of the Emerald Envy ink to that same Emerald Envy cotton ball, just because I wanted more color. And you can, do this, adding more ink to those cotton balls as you go. Okay, so now moving on to my last one. I kind of like to save the best for last. And on this one, I'm starting with the Berry Burst, adding a couple ink droplets to my cotton ball. I wasn't getting as much color as I wanted, and I'm starting with the pink on the flowers themselves. Now I'm coming in with my green, sort of envisioning the green leaves, so sort of almost coloring in, or at least that's what I was attempting to do. And then last but not least, I'm coming in with the Island Indigo to sort of fill in the sky, so to speak. Now, I'm also now taking the Island Indigo and going over the flowers, so I start creating some purple in there. And this is one of my favorite aspects, both of this color combination and of the technique, because the colors really blend and mix. And each one's going to turn out a little bit different, which again is just so much of the fun of doing this particular technique and lots of other paper crafting techniques. I just love color. So you can go back in with your cotton balls and touch up and add more color and do more color mixing. You can also do the Wink of Stella. That's what I'm doing right here. So I've put droplets of the Wink of Stella on that cotton ball with the alcohol and added some shimmer and shine to it. The more you add color and the more you blend, the less sort of white space you'll have in there, less lights and darks, more blending of the color. So you kind of got to decide as you go how much blending you want to do. So now when you're done with adding all your color, the last step is to rub off the ink that's on the surface. The ink that's sitting on the embossed areas, the silver stripes in this particular case, will just sit there on the surface. They'll never absorb in. So what I'm doing here is rubbing all that excess ink off of the surface. Ideally, you do want to make sure that you allow the ink that's on the surface to dry on the glossy cardstock portions so that it can absorb in and you can get some nice rich color. So I've added some Wink of Stella to each one of these focal pieces. I'll do that one at a time until they all have some shimmer on them. So here's my final pieces. Just a quick little look at each of them close up. And I've done some other pieces on smaller panels when I was kind of playing around, and you can see from these that they turn out completely different, each one, depending on how the colors mix. On this last striped one, I used exactly the same colors, but they look really different. So I did do one final step on all of these background pieces, and that was to cover them completely in Versamark, and I poured clear embossing powder over them and heat embossed, and that made the surface look shinier and the color even more vibrant. So here are photos of each of the 4 panels that I worked on today and the finished cards. They're each their own little creation or masterpiece. And I love them all and hope you do too. I hope you have fun playing with this, and thanks for joining me today. Happy crafting!